Perhaps no one will see this. Perhaps no one will care to hear what I have to say. I'm not sure if you'll stay. If this will be something you're exposed to, or if you'll come in, like those birds just did, flying by 2 crows. Befriending them. Living with them. Befriending them. Sounds like a dark totem. Sounds like something's in my blind spot. Well, I remember playing video games as a kid, and I wanted to be like a wizard that had like a bird flying around with them. I'm like, that's cool. I've met people who have had birds. I'm listening to this gentleman speak. He looks like an adult, but it sounds... I don't want to judge people too hard, I don't know, but certainly it seems like the person is not hearing things the same way as me. I mean, that's, I guess, what it is. Total solar eclipse, like, something's blocking something. Me blocking me. Moon blocking sun. There are people who will be completely exposed to this eclipse. And what it is really just the sun, a massive ball of fire, powering life. I guess what our scientists think is that the Earth is sort of moving in a orbital way, but it's also rotating this way, right? So like, you can start to put it into space. You can start to feel, to imagine, to perceive the players on the stage. The sun, the moon, the earth. For an eclipse to work, we have the sun. A very powerful bright force. The moon, a small rock in comparison to the sun, but very large enough for most of us all to see every day. That's something remarkable. That's something remarkable. Do we always see the moon the same way, no matter where we are on the earth? How much of the earth can see the moon? Because the moon is orbiting us in the same way that we're orbiting the sun. Thinking about yourself in relationship to things that are very universal and very global and very inclusive. I like this art form, I do. It is forbidden because it's not really true. Because what is true? But what is true? What is real to you? What you've been through? Is that not what true is? Who you've met, how you know? This is an excuse to speak for me, to remember. Looking at the eclipse chart, that's what this reading is about. The sun and the moon together in the sky, from our point of view. Of course, they're not actually together. This is why this tool doesn't convey things exactly. It does inspire me to think, though, about a relationship. The sun, which is we're orbiting around, and the moon, which is orbiting around us, coming into like a relationship. So in this moment, the relationship is being eclipsed, blocked. Nobody's here but the birds. But there are people here, just they're very cool. Like building a relationship with birds. It's just a lot easier to talk to people. They seem more interested and more like me. And I know more about me than I do birds. There are bird experts. I was singing earlier, or whistling, singing, doing a tiny micro workout. Like when I say micro workout, I'm like holding a plank right before you. Like sit in front of the computer. Like just like little micro changes to give people a more like active, mobile. I don't know how much I should flirt with ravens. They're birds of prey. Have you seen the film The Birds? It's kind of scary. Eclipses are supposed to be kind of scary. At least I think. Does that mean I'm supposed to focus on the scary part of life that we all experience? Oh no, did I turn on the stove? Did I turn off the stove? I haven't used the stove. I have to just like prioritize things. Maintain things, organize things. Now this eclipse, like it depends if I'm doing it from my chart, like what does it apply to me? Or like if I say what specifically I'm supposed to do from it, being directed to do, like based on what I know of the system, like what would I tell myself? So for me, there's some sort of like, I believe, well, this is interesting because it looks like the part of fortune. That's, let me see if that's what this is. Yeah, the part of fortune and the ascendant are in the same place. So it's like this reading is about, like, is it fortune like your money, or like your fortune like good fortune, privilege? Like, how do you want to interpret the symbols? Like, what do you want to make them mean? So again, there's a lot of options, and it's about like, okay. Part of fortune in Libra, for me, this is like getting to very much like a money thing. Resources, my body. How did I make that leap? It's because it's value, it's like a currency. Like it's an energy, it's some sort of relationship, it's some sort of like, for my energy, this is pointing to like the individual part of me that isn't someone else. It's my stuff. It's certainly going that direction. Like it's, Libra to me is the inanimate object symbol, so it includes things like microwaves and candlesticks. Maybe candlesticks is better, like a menorah, like traditional, like the symbol of it. But it's also representative of tools and technology and beauty and luxury and like Libra Sun people are competitive to me and very social, and they're like upholding rules and agreements and feeling pressures and like temptations from what it means to be a social person. Like it's, and it's reproductive too, because it's Venusian. It's like, it's near Scorpio too. I don't know, there's something very like, the Libra Scorpio Sag, sort of the fall kind of energy is very, it's society in a more legal and a more sort of cutthroat kind of way, at the same time as being like beautiful but competitive. And yeah, it's fall, like it's the dying of the leaves, but it's very colorful and very like bright, and like there's an intensity and a depth and it's like Halloween holiday season starts, you know, like it's almost winter, guys, let's have our last bit of like fun whenever, before it's cold enough that we have to stay indoors for a long time. Like it's Yeah, it does. It has like a slight more hurriedness, a coldness, I think, to that time of year. So it's the beginning of that type. Libra is a sort of balanced, is more balanced, I should say, because it's not in the center. Scorpio is a more fixed version. Virgo to Scorpio, that transition is where the ascendant of this is. And that is a bit like the ascendant is not the greatest place for something like this reading, because it's so specific in how, like my understanding is that where you are, I mean, I guess I can test this out. I guess I can do this research myself, but it's like, how different is the ascendant based on where you are geographically? Or is the ascendant always... No, it would have to be different based on where... Okay, so let's test this out. So we're gonna go to Astros. Like, this is the thing, the laws of physics are actually, like, prompting the question, which is what's so bizarre about this. Is it nonsense, like, to begin with? But I sort of want to know, like, how the chart would change based on, like, where people were on the Earth. It can't be, like, the players are still the same, but the, like, perspective on the players is different. Like, when you're born at sunset versus if you're born in the middle of the day or at night, like, what was it like? Like, what does that say about you? About, like, I'm sunset, I like sunset time. Some people are born in the nighttime, they like nighttime. Some people like, or maybe it's more than like, maybe it's like where their bright spot is. So for me, it's like just before sunset. Like, that's me, that's the time that like, when I start to get specific about this stuff, it's sort of indulgent. And let's see, March. Okay, so well, I know that. So let's do this. What's somewhere super north, like, let's do Alaska. Somewhere in Alaska. Anchorage? That's the only thing I can... Interesting. Why can I not spell Anchorage? Alaska. Anchorage? Capital of Alaska. Someone said you have to memorize all the capitals. I'm like, that's probably a good idea for meeting different people, so you can, like, Juneau. Anchorage. What is Anchorage? Juneau. How do you spell that, though? June. This is research. Juneau, Alaska. My name is March 18. And the date is March 18. Same year as me. And same time. Or would it be in a different time? No, like 5:55 p.m. Do I need it to be in the same? Well, but that's just a That grid is... I'm trying to create... It's like, am I about to teleport? Like, that's kind of... Oh my gosh. Like, I can't... I don't feel like I can pull to mind other places, any place but this. Like, but right now what I'm attempting to do is imagine what the Earth, like I'm trying to like visualize the Earth in relationship to the sun. Like I'm trying to like imagine it. I'm trying to imagine it. And if it's 5:55 p.m. and I'm here, well, at least Alaska's still in North America, so it would only be a few hours off. It's just, like, what I'm kind of wanting is to know, like, where everything was in space-time when someone was born, so then I can sort of, like, pull that. Like, it's impossible. Like, it's impossible. The sheer number of different factors and forces and players at work, like, it starts to connect to everything else that is. Like, that's how my experience is of it. It's so vast that this is nonsensical. But I'm doing it anyways. What time zone is Juneau, Alaska? Alaskan. It's Alaska Daylight Time. Oh, GMT. GMT. So I'll just do 5:55 Pacific PM Pacific time to Alaska. Alaska Daylight Time? And what is it? Like, the fact that I can't even visualize it, like, I would need to, like, watch a video about that or try and... It's just such a vast... Like, maybe it's simple and I'm just not... There's, like, some sort of block, or I'm like... Like, I'm having trouble, like, zooming out from, like... I know, okay, so the Earth, if we have it that way up, which is... like, relative. Like, it's overwhelming, but I'm trying to just sort of, like, sink into the scale of the Earth. It's like... Pacific Daylight Time, it's saying that it's only like an hour earlier. So then what I would need to do is I would need to adjust my birth time by an hour earlier. So it would have been 4:55 p.m. I think. I mean, again, like, now at some point I'm like trying to rely on a fictitious map making system, but to sort of like ground it in, like, it's like a form of positioning. Like, it's what's going on. No, it's Juneau, Alaska. (4:55, 1991). That would be the wrong entry. There we go. And this will be the 18th of March. Okay. It's really interesting. So, what are the differences? What is the ascendant? 17 degrees. Yeah. I mean, it's not... Okay, so if I had been born, and if you count for time change, so it was the same moment that I was born, it would have been considered 455 there. Like, I think someone who actually understands this, but like, that's the thing, is a part of me is like, have I come to a conclusion based on sheer nonsense? No. What am I trying to do, Caleb? I'm trying to figure out, like, if this software, if these birth charts, these occult casting devices, but are based on real, like, technology, real software, real programming about, like, where the planets are in relationship to us, which I believe is something that NASA is capable of doing, or is doing. Like, if I trust the projections of, like, our leading scientific institutions, the ones that have the brand representation, the ones that have the money from our taxes, like, I'm down to work with people. Like, I've tried to apply to work at some of these places, and, like, anyways, I'm starting getting into the personal, as opposed to, like, trying to explain how astrology works. But it's, to me, it seems like when someone was born, the planets were where they were. And if you divide up the sky into 12 sections, and that's that thing, is which one's right and which one's wrong. People do it in different ways. Some people base their, like, conceptions, me, you, all of these different, what is it? Beliefs, ideas. Trying to figure out what it is we want to say, or sing, or do, you know? Moving through, being alive, like, tell the story, but it's eclipsed. It's being blocked. But really, it's just the sun, the moon, and the earth. And depending on where you are in the earth, like, for instance, the eclipse, the people that can see the sun literally being, like, blocked out perfectly. Like, do you see my eyes? Like, they look like an eclipse. Like, look at me. Look at my aging face. Look at my eyes. Look at my hair. Look at the bumps. Look at the bruises. Look at the follicles. Hymns, notes, sounds, stored somehow. Repetition, exposure when you were young, like, listening closely, being gifted with ears to hear, a voice to speak. How should I express myself? What should I say? What should I say? It's blocked. It's blocked. It's eclipsed. The sun is eclipsed. If you're starting with the sun, it's eclipsed. What is it eclipsed by? The moon. The moon is in Taurus. Not Not during this eclipse. No. This is the... I need to go back to the eclipse. That was what this video is about. Not doing the research. But it doesn't matter, because I don't have a following. It's just... like, it's a fictive thing. Like, I don't need to tell the story. Like, it doesn't empirically matter. Like, it's more of like a ritual. I'm more of like doing it as like a document or a public exposition on me experiencing life over time. Not sure if anyone will ever listen, or if anyone will ever take it seriously, or know that I'm available to chat or to work with or try and problem solve with. Like, I mean, I have to sleep, but I don't mind helping people. But learning to focus. Learning to focus and do things. Even though it's like in the existential vastness, it's sort of like, I mean, like, learn something exercisey. Consistently do it. Drink water. Like, talking at a universal level is so vast. I don't know. So vast. Stretching, breathing, singing, blowing your nose, moving. Am I holding myself to the standards? Am I holding myself to the standards? Like, holding yourself, your postures, your performances. But it's like, there's some sort of, let's call it a dragon, or some sort of rage. Like a buzzing heat, agitation. And I'm like, what does that come from? Where is this? Is it coldness? Do I need to get warm? I don't think so. I'm just trying to like feel into it. And that feels appropriate. It feels very present and very alive and very fiery. It's like Aries energy. Like a ram. A ram. Bighorns. Fire. Starting the fire. Springtime. You know? We're in springtime, and springtime is being... Well, but the scheme of things, this is the part where it's so... Like, I'm not saying that it's irrelevant, but it doesn't seem to have a direct correlative effect. Like, it just doesn't. Well, but, like, I mean... Like, I can make a vague association. I hear a whistling. I'm like, is the tea kettle on? I don't think so. No. What is that sound? There's a lot of people that live in a city. You gotta get used to all the sounds and flow with them. Stretch into them. Let go with them. Ramble on. Ramble on. Continue. Share. Explore. It's like, I'm just... Sometimes it's just anger. Like, it's just frustration. It's just dance. It's just... I could play music. I could dance. I could be utilized by lots of people to experience good vibrations, but it's like I'm like being forced to prescribe to like broken systems and to stick to things rigidly and to like suffer. Like, so if you think about the different stories, yeah, I don't know, there's a power to being alive. There's a force. And I sometimes don't know which team I'm on. Am I on the devil's team or am I on God's team? And that's a weird thing for people to think, because it's like, what do you mean? You're not trying to do anything bad, Caleb. You're trying to be nice. Well, but I mean, I've been told I've been doing things that are bad, where other people are like, you're great, and other people are like, you're bad. And I'm like, yes, I know. Thanks, both. As is everyone. We're trying to move towards good, right? Like, I feel frustration, but like, where's that laugh coming from? I feel like some sort of like weird thing right here. It's like, what about when I'm old and I can't do this anymore? Like, we only get the bodies for a little bit of time, and like, I know that I've got to use it, like, to rise to the occasion. I've got to, there's this feeling of like being physically capable. It's like, come back into my body. That's why I want to play Survivor. That's why I want to like, but I'm like, if I'm going to play Survivor, then I got to condition. And if I want to play Survivor, what for? It's like for publicity, for exposure, for being able to test my skills, like to be competitive. It's like, I'm just ready to try things, to speak differently, to use my voice differently, to sing, to instruct, to deliver, to explore, to never ignore. Like, what? It's nonsense. It's poetry. It's art. It's explosive. It's in need of a good stretch. It's Aries. It's... If this is my blind spot that you guys are getting to see, if this is me during the eclipse, I mean, it isn't, because the eclipse is coming up. So it's like... It's making me think of all the stories of, like, Avatar: The Last Airbender, and the new show, and all of it. It's just like this... The stuff that really just resonated. But it's all twisted up nonsense, in a sense, at the same time. But it's sacred and dear to people. Like, but imagine if Eclipse was much, much worse. Or just remembering that there's a lot of balance to the universe. Like, because my eyes have been eclipsed, in a way it feels. Like, strange sensations. Strange feelings. Strange sort of visualizations of like, it's almost like a dream. I'm gonna call it something like twisting in on yourself. Like, looking at other people breeding and having children and going to school and getting water pumped through pipes, and is your, like, vegetable content a nutritious thing? Like, is it sustainable? Like, we've got to be smart as humans, and that's all, all this do it, Aries. It's like fast-paced enough and forward enough to really be like cutting through things. Like, in order to cut through things, you've got to be doing. I think part of the reason the Aries challenge for me is so problematic, just doing shit, is because my Virgo disposition is like just keep everything perfect. like just, at least that's if I'm thinking about myself. Like, there's just a sense of like control freak human, don't want to experience pain, like it's a virgin. It's like someone you want to protect. Sensitive protection, service, like reasonable logic, like receiving messages, understanding them, dissecting them, like Virgo rising. Like, so my soul's like, serve. You must serve. You must serve. And it's like, okay, I'll serve. Like, how many years? like it just, Virgo has a kind of critical servant logic, like there's a serviceness to it. But for me, my serviceness, that is Virgo, is ruled over by Mercury in Aries. Mercury is also in Aries. A fast cutting messenger, someone who breaks through, brings the heat. Calling someone a spider at the bar. I did that. You're like a spider? Am I like a spider? I mean, my web's not very good. 0 people. 0 likes. Dreaming up delights. Mars in Pisces rules over the Sun-Moon territory. Conjunct Saturn. Now that one is fiery death. Like, added in to everything. It's like giving back because Pisces is a diffuser in many ways. It just sort of starts to go so global, humanitarian, like the oceans. It's just, so it's like an insertion of Mars, but the Mars force is actually it's combining with Saturn, so it's like, in some ways it's even more limiting. Like what is Mars, like, in some ways is going to be like, but at the same time, I'm getting the image of like the like bones and but because Saturn is so associated with like the limits of what's possible, it's like at some point it's like, this is nonsense, but my job is to merge fire and heat with extreme cold. It's dry, but it's in Pisces. So it's like fiery energy, warrior energy, cold boundaries merging. So it's like, and then it's in Pisces, so it's like oceany, like kind of almost like servant-hearted, compassionate, lots of emotions and feelings and connections. Neptune's still in there. It's at 28 degrees. Yeah. Neptune's gonna leave the high. I mean, Neptune moves very slow, so I imagine we're gonna have more time in Pisces. But that's allegedly the modern ruler. But man, that's starting to get so obscure. It's like it would be like saying that, like, well, I mean, I don't know. Like, I've had someone say that I should be protected class. And I'm like, yeah, shouldn't we all? Like, shouldn't everyone be protected? What about the bugs? And the animals? Humans are just so... And I'm just so... And you're just so... The sun in Aries is good. Honestly, that's kind of... So, like, let's say... Like, if you approach it this way, like, yeah, some of you are not going to get as much sun. The sun's doing fine. The moon can block out the sun every now and then. It's just like... Yeah, block it out. Take a nap. Like... Say no. Just be like, no. But it's also... What if someone says no to life? We don't like that. We don't like that. People make choices, like breed, and then say no to life. So they have kids, and then they're like, oh, nope. I mean, I guess some people get set up pretty good. I think that's a lot of a parent's hope. Like, set your kids up. Set them up real good. Like, I'm from Oklahoma, right? So I like military backgrounds, religious background, education background. It's like lots of it. I've been exposed to a lot of different people navigating the system. That is our society. I think reasonable people, good people, lots of them. People that are not totally evil. Now, when it comes to being nice to other animals, I mean, we're not quite elves, you know? Well, some of us are more like that than others. But at some point, that could just be like hyper control and fixation, and maybe even destructive and toxic. I don't know. I can see how people don't respond well sometimes to life. I can see how that people make mistakes. I can accept it. Based on my understanding of the harshness of this world and how it comes to be what it is over time, millions of years perhaps, people believe it was made like some sort of power like made it already baked. Oh yes, it was made to look mature. Like that's what God did. And it's like, I mean, I just keep waking up here. I just keep waking up here. And there's eclipses every year. This is just the point where whenever the moon going around us and us going around the sun happens to just line up. But then if you think about how small the moon is, and you know, it's coming around, the moon comes around us. It's not perfect as it's orbiting us, you know? But it is kind of cool whenever it's like... Now, the reason the moon does it is because, remember, we're being pulled, connected to by the sun. The sun is doing its thing, and we're just like, do. And now I'm just, like, imagining this sort of sun energy, because but the reality is, like you can place the sun, like, the sun is setting over that way, I presume. You see? No, and it's also kind of raining. It's only 6:48, so there's still more time, but it's like probably somewhere over this way. So this is why, you know, some traditions like worship the sun, and some people say that's bad. And I'm like, well, not all the things that happen under this sun are my favorite, so maybe some people are onto some stuff. Like, maybe we should listen to the people that are trying to tell us stories about how to behave and why you would behave that way. Like, maybe kids could stand to do that more. I just think we gotta approach them real carefully. And I think religious stories have been used to probably a lot of negative effects, as well as positive. I think it's a mixed bag. I get that people have been harmed. I'm sorry about that. Don't want that. I don't know what to do. I only have so much control, and I'm trying to be nice, and I'm trying to be receptive and open. And I know that I need to do, like, things that are helpful, and I'm like, let me help people solve their problems. Like, let me be a lifestyle engineer. Let me help you. So I have to keep helping me in order to help you. Working together, Virgo, Aries. Aries is on the other side of where my soul's here to do. But I'm still very much in Aries, because Mercury, the planet, like the actual material, as opposed to the planet Mercury, like the planet versus a constellation, which, by the way, doesn't even match up anymore because of the way that, I think it's the precession. Is it the precession of the equinox? So I guess there's something about the way that the Earth is, like, there's just so many layers of movement that are happening. So it's like the way that humans saw the stars, like in past times, they don't see them the same anymore. Like you could be in the same place on the Earth and you could look up at the stars, but that movement is probably like, this is the sort of like it's like almost nauseating, like it's just so high up. Like, that's how this realm feels for me. My perceptions of them. It's like imagining, like, using the objects and then like thinking about them to scale, and then zooming into the Earth and all the different people. Like, it's just like, here it is. Did the sun make the Earth? I mean, like, could the Earth be the Earth without the sun? Could the sun be the Earth without the Earth? I feel like the sun could be the sun without the Earth. Like, the sun could be the sun and keep sunning even if something bad happened to the Earth. But like, if something happens to the sun, the Earth is up. Like, it's done. Like, stars, like the fact that stars have alleged life cycles. I've never seen a star die, but I mean, I guess I've seen images of it. They're like, I mean, these are the things that our tools are observing, and people are trying to use math and understanding and tools and how things work to, like, I mean, it's fascinating. It's a fascinating place. This art is fascinating to me. That doesn't mean it's accurate, but it could be helpful. I could be helpful. I am available. I am available. The North Node is kind of near this eclipse. That's why it's an eclipse. You know what the North Node is? Well, hopefully you do. Look it up. I'm looking at it. I'm the symbol of, like, the place where they intersect. Now, since that's at 15 degrees Aries, and the eclipse is at 19, the blockage will not probably cover as many. Like, because if it was exactly in line, does that mean that the moon's orbit in relationship, like how is the North Node really calculated? Like, okay, so it is the point, the mathematically perfect point between the two. It's like the most precise angle of intersection between the moon and the Earth and the sun. So because the sun and the moon happen to be coming together at that point, close enough to that point, but I imagine the more mathematically perfect it is, the more, like, blockage of light would occur, because the moons would be more precisely in between. So, like, this eclipse is 4 degrees away from that, so it's like there's some, it's still very much, the energies are still much blending. Like earlier I was talking about Mars and Saturn, but it's like This one is Moon, Sun, North Node. Venus is in Aries. Not getting eclipsed. Yeah. By Venus in Pisces. Now Venus in Aries. Okay. Alright. I had a nice time, bye. Never talk to you again, never engage with you again. Ghost you, done with you, write you off, finished, uninterested. I'm just not... I want people to be honest. I want people to be honest and open and direct. I will try to be that. Mercury is retrograde. So, like, what are the stakes? The Sun is ruled over by Mars in Pisces, which is ruled over by Jupiter in Taurus. And that Jupiter in Taurus and Uranus in Taurus, okay? Okay. Uranus and Jupiter, suddenness, sudden changes to the pattern, jolts. Is that 19 degrees? Shouldn't that be sextiling then? Mars? No. Not quite, I guess. It's pretty close though. Let me look at the shape. No. Where is it? Where are the aspects? Aspect tables. There we go. Okay. What do we have? Sun and the Moon are conjunct. Okay. The Sun conjunction Moon. Let's see. Neptune sextile Pluto, okay. Very outer limits stuff. Learning in the deep waters. I'm just thinking about sharks and stuff. That really dark, cold, killer, violent part of the universe. I'm just perhaps not the best suited at the moment. Jupiter. Sun is ruled over by Mars in Pisces, which is ruled over by Jupiter. Jupiter is in Taurus at 19 degrees. So it's like 6 away. And they're sextiling. I like that. The Jupiter in Taurus, ruled over by Venus in Aries, though. That's not as nice. It's like a little crowded feeling. It's like a bit crowded. Crowded. That's the energy that's coming through. Crowding, crowds, crowded, okay. Crowded. Crowded, crowded. Crowded, crowded, crowded. I'm hearing crowded, and then crow dead, like crawdad, like at some point it just becomes sound. Crowded. Sun, moon, some sort of bump, some sort of block, some sort of, what the hell? Like I'm pulling up the story of like people being like, I'm like, hey, this is me, and they're like, stop being you, no, and I'm like, why? What's wrong with what I asked for? What's wrong? Aries wants to go forward. Pisces is like, but like, I gotta. experiments. Experiments with the voice. Lower. Stretching, flowing, getting lost in the symbols, getting lost in the story, letting go of even needing to focus because it's an eclipse. It's blocked. It's auspicious. But I think astrology is... As I face reality and I return to this game, this storytelling prompt, and I think about the fact that, like, I don't know what a lot of humans are doing and what choices they're making. How about most of them? Almost all of them? Like 0.00 something percent is like the actual monitoring that I'm doing in this moment on anyone else. I don't know if that's true because this is sort of like a public concern, sort of. Like, service? Mm-hmm. It is a service. Believing in the service doesn't mean believing in the superstition. Believing in the service doesn't mean believing in the superstition. What would that mean for, like, an atheist? You don't have to believe, you just serve. Why serve, though, if you don't believe? If reality is not real, then, well, what is? Games. Dreams. Things behind the scenes. You wouldn't notice, like the sun or the moon. They're not behind the scenes, but if you were outside and you looked out at the sun in the middle of the day and you could look at it safely, because the moon was blocking it. I'll be able to look at it, even from LA. I'm not going to be in the direct path, but it'll still be happening. I just have special glasses that make it safe to see, allegedly. And it's pretty amazing. It's pretty amazing. Pretty trailblazing. It's me. It's you. It's all we've got to do to get along. Here is a song. Like, it's not controlled. It's never been told. But it's around. A companion in my head. A shamanistic kind of trend that does abound with sound. It's fun to jam. If I could jam, then I would hot jam. Hot jams. I may make some bread tonight. It is 7:08, but maybe pasta. Maybe push-ups? Pasta and push-ups? Maybe? I don't want to go soft. Do you want to go soft? Aries would say no, don't go soft. Do it. Just do it. What's Michael Jordan? I need to look at his chart. Because I'm saying Michael... I mean, I know that just do it can still be Aries even if it's not. But I'm just, like, wondering, because he seemed to be he was, like, a dude who did it. So, Michael Jordan astrology chart. Damn. No, his sun is in Aquarius, which is hard. But his Saturn is in Aquarius, which helps that a lot. Saturn in Aquarius with the sun there. Yeah, I mean, he's pretty established in the boundaries. In the rules, in the limitations, and the restrictions. He knows about them. He's good at them. He's good at managing the restrictions, the rules. It is this intellectual, scientific thing. I get Aquarius politician energy for sure. But sports politics, where's that? I mean, Mars and Leo, I'm sure I would like that. I quite like that. Venus and Capricorn also, I think I would like that. Maybe I need to message Michael Jordan, but he might be married and he might not be gay. I don't know. Let's look it up. Is Michael Jordan married? He's married to Yvette Prieto. Prieto? I think he might be straight. I don't know that, though. Maybe bi. I don't want to offend anyone, but ultimately, who cares? The stars suggest that we would be sexually compatible. But his moon is in Sagittarius and my moon is in Taurus, so it probably wouldn't work. Probably wouldn't work. Very different. Well, but there could be relationship, like sexual exchange without the, I mean, that's pretty funny. I should go on TikTok and do this, but water first. I think I've done enough talking, right? And I've floated around on everything, but it's an eclipse, so I don't have to fucking do it right. I can make any mistake I want. I can be reckless. I don't know why that energy is getting eclipsed. It may not be that different than the other lives, but it does feel like I've been like way off on a tangent more than my normal rhythm. Like the sun does this, and this means this, and this. Like it's a dance. I need to turn it into a song, perhaps, like a bard. Suns in 5, 6, like I should write songs for the stars, for the signs. Whoa, no. I gotta fix that. Or do I? Or is this okay? Is it okay to talk with a raspy, choky voice? Is this all right? Does this damage the vocal cords? Does vocal fry hurt your voice? The vocal anatomy is not damaged by speaking in vocal fry. However, like any behavior, vocal or otherwise, it can become a habit, explains John Hopkins. Otolaryngologist. Don't know what that word means. Otolaryngologist. We're gonna have to listen to someone say what that is, so that I can know a little bit more about something that someone else knows a little bit more about than I. Ear, nose, and throat. I'm gonna go videos from him. Love, light, and the snakes bite.